There's a strange feeling a lot of people have right now. You look at your bank account and think, I should be okay. You're paying your bills, you're working, and you're trying to be responsible with money, but somehow it still feels tight. You hesitate before buying small things, you check your banking app more than you used to, and sometimes you open it just to make sure everything is still fine. And even when things are technically okay, the feeling doesn't go away. It's this quiet thought in the back of your mind. Why does money feel so stressful right now? You hear the same thing from other people too. A friend says they feel broke even though they have a decent job. Someone at work says they make more money than they did 5 years ago, but life somehow feels harder. Maybe you notice it in small everyday moments. You go to the grocery store and the total is higher than you expected. You open a food delivery app, see the price, and quietly close it again. Maybe you look at rent prices or housing and think, how are people paying this? Nothing dramatic happened, but something about money feels heavier than it used to. And the strange part is that it doesn't seem to matter where someone is in life. Young people feel it, people with careers feel it, even people who look financially stable feel it. Which leads to a question many people are quietly asking themselves right now: why does everyone feel broke? Part of the answer has to do with something very simple about the human brain. Your brain gets used to things very quickly. When something improves in your life, it feels exciting at first, but after a while, it just becomes normal. Think about your first paycheck. At the time, it probably felt amazing. You might have thought, finally, I'm earning money. Things are going to feel easier now, but after some time, that paycheck stopped feeling special and simply became your normal life. The same thing happens when people start earning more money. At first, there's relief and maybe even excitement because it feels like you finally reached a level where things should feel stable. But slowly, life adjusts around that income. Maybe someone moves into a slightly nicer place. Maybe they spend a little more on food or convenience, or maybe small upgrades start to feel reasonable. None of these decisions feel irresponsible, they just feel normal. At the same time, something else is happening quietly in the background. Expectations are changing. What once felt like enough slowly becomes the new baseline. And once something becomes normal, it stops feeling like progress. There's another layer too. Every day we see other people's lives, especially online. Someone posting their vacation, someone buying a house, someone driving a new car. Even if you logically know that social media only shows the best moments, your brain still absorbs the comparison. Without realizing it, your mind starts asking a different question. Not am I okay, but am I behind? And once that question enters your mind, money starts to feel very different. But there's another reason money feels so stressful right now, and it has less to do with income and more to do with uncertainty. Your brain cares deeply about safety. It wants to know that things will be okay tomorrow, that your life is stable, and that the ground under your feet isn't suddenly going to move. The problem is that modern life feels less predictable than it used to. Prices change quickly, rent changes quickly, industries change quickly, and jobs can feel less stable than they once did. Even if you're doing fine today, your brain keeps asking a quiet question in the background. What if something changes? Imagine someone who has a steady job and pays all their bills on time. On paper, they are doing well, but maybe they've seen layoffs happen around them. Maybe they've watched rent increase every year. Maybe they've noticed how expensive everyday things like groceries or utilities have become. Because of that, their brain stays alert. It starts thinking things like, I should be careful with money, or what if something goes wrong later? This creates a strange experience where even people who are technically stable can still feel financially stressed. That's because your brain isn't just measuring how much money you have, it's also measuring how safe the future feels. And when the future feels uncertain, your brain becomes more cautious. That caution can sometimes feel exactly like being broke, even when that's not the full story. Once you understand this, something important starts to become clearer. The financial pressure many people feel right now isn't just about personal mistakes or poor decisions, it's also about the environment people are living in. When the world around you feels unpredictable, your brain naturally becomes more careful. It tries to protect you and prepare for problems before they happen. That's why you might feel uneasy spending money even when you technically can afford something. Your brain is trying to create a sense of safety. But there's another thing happening at the same time. The world constantly shows us new versions of what life is supposed to look like: a better house, a better lifestyle, better vacations, better everything. And if your mind keeps comparing your life to those moving images, the feeling of not enough never really disappears because the target keeps moving. There will always be someone earning more, someone traveling more, someone living a life that looks easier from the outside. If that becomes the scoreboard for your life, the race never really ends. But once you start noticing that pattern, something shifts. You begin to realize that the pressure you feel isn't just about money itself. It's also about expectations, comparisons, and a world that constantly raises the definition of what enough is supposed to look like. And sometimes simply understanding that can make the feeling a little lighter. not because money suddenly stops mattering, but because you start to see that the pressure you feel isn't just yours. It's something millions of people are quietly experiencing at the exact same time.